if you can't get the employee experience right, it's very hard to get the customer experience right, especially in businesses where the employees are dealing with customers directly.
Hello, and welcome to a whole new episode of Engati CX. I'm your host, Kimberly, and we are really glad to have all of you join us today. On this show, we talk to CX and technology experts from around the globe. We explore, uncover, and share fresh insights on creating experiences that your customers will remember and look forward to. Engati is the world's leading multilingual, no code digital CX platform available across 14 channels with 45,000 solutions created across 186 countries in every domain and use case. Engati has also been recognized as the top platform by Inc. magazine, Tech World, CIO magazine, and many others. We run the Engati blog, the video channel, the Engati CX podcast, receiving upwards of 400,000 visitors annually. And now for our guest. We have the very amazing Shane Goldberg with us on the show. Shane Goldberg is the founder and principal at CustCore Consulting. With his extensive knowledge of customer experience, sales operations, strategy, and business improvements, he understands the importance of integrating customer lens to improve the operational aspects of sales, service, and operations. He helps companies to wow their customers by unlocking new areas of growth by defining, measuring, and improving customer experience across all parts of their customer journey, with a focus on customer insight, strategy, and cultural change. Welcome to the show, Shane. We're so glad to have you join us today.
Thank you, Kimberly, and thank you for having me.
But before we dive into our amazing interview with Shane, don't forget to subscribe to Engati and tap the bell icon to get access to exclusive content coming from thought leaders from around the globe. Well, Shane, let's start with our very first question. What steps, according to you, would you urge businesses to take to elevate customer satisfaction scores?
Okay, so there are quite a few things that businesses need to do to elevate customer satisfaction scores. I'd say the first one is to really understand their customers and know who they are. That would involve talking to your customers either through surveys or interviews or face-to-face, and really getting to know them, understand what drives them, why they come to your business, why they stay with you, why they buy your products or services, and very importantly, what they think of the experience that you're giving in sales, service, returns, operations, everything like that. So that's really the first step, really understanding your customers and what drives them. And then the second step is actually designing experiences for them that actually meet those needs. So once you understand them, you would understand their needs, and you'd be able to design those experiences around those key touch points: the sales, the service, the marketing, the operations. When they call you up, or they go into your store or anything like that, what experience do they want? Do they want it to be really special? Do they want it to be quick? Do they want something else? Once you know their needs, then you can actually design those experiences. And then the third step would actually be to have the right business capabilities in place to actually deliver those experiences. So once you've designed experiences, there is no point having a great experience designed if you can't actually give it to the customer. So let's say that you want customers to be able to buy something on your website and then have it sent to them same day. Well, if you don't have a capability to do that, then there is no point saying that. So you need the right business capabilities around your people, your process, and your systems, so that you can actually meet those experiences as designed and meet the customer needs. And then last of all, underlying all that is the culture of the company. If you don't have the right culture in place, the right focus on customers, getting people thinking about customers properly, then you can have the best capabilities, the best design, but really your people won't think of customers and they won't give them the service and experience that they need.
Yes, I completely agree with what you've said, and you very simply put these small things in place. But when you talk about understanding customers, so let's go a step before that. How do businesses actually find their potential customers? Is there some tips or some keys that we look forward to?
In finding customers, so one of the lowest cost ways to find customers is actually to get referrals from your current customers. It's that whole word of mouth and referral marketing is actually something that a lot of businesses don't tap into very well. They go out with big whiz bang campaigns for new customers, but they don't talk to their current customers, especially those customers that really like them, those promoters, to use a term from NPS, and say, are there other people that you know that would like our services or products? Can you go out and tell them about us? In some cases, that type of marketing can be done to give us more incentive to your customers. You know, if you bring on a new customer, you'll get next month's subscription at half price or something like that. That also has the benefit of those friends of or colleagues of those customers are often in the same segment and have the same needs as those people. So you're actually growing your key segments by doing that. The other way to really find customers is, and it's a bit sneaky, find customers that are not happy with a competitor and target those. Reviews and things like that online are becoming more and more prevalent. You can see who those people are. You can even go and target them depending on your business and your industry.
Yes, I think that was a very important. I like the part where you said that, you pick out the customers that your competitors are failing to provide with. Yes, very well said. Now that we have our customers all in place and we have designed the model for them, how can we develop and execute a group-wide customer loyalty improvement program that promotes business growth while strengthening relations between customers and businesses?
So building customer loyalty and running an improvement program is really important. Too many businesses focus on bringing in new customers and then don't really think about keeping those customers, growing those customers. It costs a lot less to keep a customer than it does to bring in a new customer. There's lots of different research and stats saying it costs like anywhere between 7 times and 15 times as much to bring in a new customer than it does to keep a customer. So improvement programs start with listening. So what you need to do is listen to your customers and listen to your staff around what's not working. You need to know from your customers what are the parts of the experience they really like, what are the parts of the experience they really don't like, but also what are those critical moments that matter in the experience. So let's use the example of buying a new car or something like that. One of those critical moments might be when you take it for a test drive, for example. So you really need to get those experiences right, those critical moments, so that customers buy from you. And critical moments can also be once you've got the customers, so building customer loyalty. Let's say a customer calls you up. What's that experience like? That might be a critical moment for them. I had one yesterday where I called an organization I needed to speak to. I was on a hold for 40 minutes. There was no announcement saying how long I'd been on hold for, no way to get a call back, no way to do anything like that. And that was just a terrible experience and made me want to go somewhere else. That's not how to build loyalty. So you need to listen to your customers, then you need to build effective ways to improve the processes and the experiences and the capabilities I talked about earlier, so that you can, if customers want same day delivery like I talked about, but you're only giving 3-day delivery, then you focus on what's important to the customer and you find a way to give them that same day delivery. And then I talked about staff as well. One of the channels that is really important when it comes to building loyalty and improvement in your customers is actually talking to your staff, and especially the ones that deal with customers every single day, because they're the ones that know what customers want and they know the pain points as well for them and their customers. And too many companies have senior managers sitting in offices that think they know what customers want and where the pain points are, but they don't. So it's really important to talk to your staff and find out what to improve as well.
Yes, so communication here plays a very important role, like you said. So is this the same process that we follow when in terms of churn or retention of customers?
It's very similar. What you need to do with churn is find out why customers are churning, and just asking the question really why. You might be able to tell from your own operational data, but often it's really interesting to talk to customers that are leaving or have left to find out why, and it's often quite shocking. to hear the reasons, and it'll be stuff that doesn't show up in the operational data. And it can be small things that need to be improved that can make a huge difference to churn.
Correct. Yes, very true. I think it is very important for the communication factor to not die out during the process of the customer coming on board and the services that we provide. Yes, I completely agree with you.
Onboarding is actually a really critical moment. I talked about those moments that matter. That first impression is so critical in so many industries and markets. If you don't get that right, then customers either don't use your product or service, or they even get annoyed and just leave and tell all their friends about it.
Yes, very true. So, can digital transformation and change management be implemented simultaneously? What could be the possible implications if something goes wrong here?
So digital transformation and change management actually have to be implemented side by side. You can't do them separately, because a digital transformation means you're changing, if you do it properly and well, changing a lot of stuff in your organization to go digital, front end, back end, customer facing, staff facing, depends how broad you're going. And if you don't have the change management efforts in place at the same time, you can have a wonderful digital front end, but not have the processes in place, not have the staff in place that know what they're going to do when an order comes through, for example, or anything like that. So I actually think to separate the two is not very practical, and I've seen projects fall over because there's not enough change management support behind digital transformations. So the implications of not getting the two right, especially the change management, is that, as I said, you can have a wonderful front end, but terrible back end, and the process is not in place to support them.
Yes, definitely. But what about these traditional businesses that are very rigid to digital transformation and change management? How can they try and smoothen out this process?
So they can, I'd say, if a company is too rigid in trying to do it, in terms of smoothing out the process, one is to engage customers in the process, so that you know what customers want. Is the transformation actually meeting their needs? Are they getting what they need, so you can pivot and change? Try be agile and follow an agile process to make that digital transformation. Get your staff involved in the transformation as well. As I said, staff often know what will work and won't work, and they'll give good feedback as well. So all of those types of activities really help with ensuring that a digital transformation works effectively.
Yes, Shane, that was indeed very helpful. So, how important is the effectiveness of feedback loops with customers in the B2B businesses and space?
So I've talked about feedback loops already and listening to customers. And many B2B companies actually don't think feedback loops are as important. I actually think they're more important. B2B companies often have relationships with their customers. And if you don't have feedback loops in place, those customers think that you don't care about them. And so you need really good feedback loops, because the customers in a B2B environment often have choice. They have a lot of power on where they go. And they want to feel that you care about them, that they can trust you, and that when they give feedback, that it's listened to, it's actioned, and something's done with it. If it's not done, then you can really turn them from a promoter to a detractor very quickly.
Correct. Yes. So now that we're talking about feedback loops, do you think that having businesses actually implement these feedbacks that we get? How important it is for B2B and B2C here?
I think it's critical. It's one of those areas that many companies don't do very well. And customers get really, really annoyed, as I said, if they give feedback in any form. It can be a complaint, or it can just be a call, or it can be an email, or just anything, something on Google, anywhere. If they give feedback and nothing's done with it. And often that feedback's quite visible, especially things like Google reviews and those sort of things. People can see, and you can see when a company actually responds and actually does something with that feedback, because often you can see that online. as well. So it's really important in both B2B and B2C to get those feedback loops right, to get the responses right, make sure things are done with it.
Yes, I completely agree with you. So feedback is like this one component that connects you back again to the product making and implementing of everything. Yes,
Yes.
the cycle is like always on.
Yeah, exactly.
So, with customer behavior during crisis has highlighted that many customers have reverted to be focusing on needs much more basic before COVID-19. So, can you tell us the importance of these needs and how businesses can make the utmost use of them?
So you're right. COVID-19's definitely driven a change in customer needs. I like to think of it with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, if you've heard of that before. Many customers, especially in developed countries, were right at the top of the pyramid, and their needs were around, all kinds of weird and wonderful things. But customers have moved down the Maslow's hierarchy, and safety, security, those sort of things are so much more important to them now. And one of the really key things there is trust. Customers now more than ever want to feel they can trust the companies that they deal with, whether it's B2C or B2B. Trust to keep them safe, secure, that they'll do what they say they're going to do, they'll keep their promises, that they won't give them products or services that are bad. So it's really important for companies to think about how do they build trust with their customers, that those basic needs will be met. Because if they aren't met, the customers will definitely go somewhere else.
Yes, I think that's a very important and a very small thing, that is trust is to be kept, because what has happened is because of forced digital transformation, because of crisis, because of various other factors that have come in because of COVID-19, there has been a major drift between businesses and companies. And I still believe that there are still businesses who are still trying to, get in touch with their customers and, keep them satisfied. So I think here the factor trust is very important. Yes.
Yeah, and trust is growing. I mean, trust was growing anyway prior to COVID, but now it's just so critical. You have to, if you think about people in lockdowns, and there are many people around the world going through lockdown all over the place. They have to be able to trust the companies they deal with. That when I order something online, because many more people are ordering things online, it's not going to come in 6 months. It's going to come in a few days, for example. And when it comes, it's going to work, because it's often hard to send it back. So all of those sort of things, trust is so important. If I need help and I call up, I'm going to get through to someone. And many companies haven't been able to manage the call volumes they've had during COVID of companies calling them up. So innovative ways to handle those sort of things, so I can trust I can get help. That's just so important as well.
Yes. Would you like to share any experience that you've come across where trust actually won over everything else?
So yeah, I have a number of examples around that. We ordered something new for our house, probably 3 months ago. We were in lockdown at the time. This was through a company that I thought I could trust. I had used them previously, but 2 months later, the thing hadn't come yet. So I totally lost trust in the company. That's an example where I lost trust. And now, so I cancelled the order and I've gone with someone else, and I'm never going to use that company again. With courier services, so we use a number of different courier services in different aspects of the business. It's one area where trust is just so important. You got to trust that if you use a courier, that the package is going to get to where it needs to go to. So a lot of the courier we use is based on trust, and trusting them. And there are many couriers out there. So the couriers is one example where trust is really important.
Yes, definitely. I think that is one of the most basic things for businesses that they should try and incorporate with their customers.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, is there anything else you would like to add our audience, something that we missed out, which is very critical and essential?
I just want to reinforce what I talked about staff and employee experience and how critical that is in relation to customer experience as well. I talked about speaking to staff about what's working, what's not working, what are the pain points. If you can't get the employee experience right, it's very hard to get the customer experience right, especially in businesses where the employees are dealing with customers directly. So if you make it really hard, for instance, in a store or a call center for a person to do their job, let's say I call up and I want help and that person I'm talking to needs to use 12 different systems to do something. It's very hard for them to give me a great experience. So that's where employee experience is just so important. The employees have to be happy, they have to be motivated, it has to be easy for them to actually do their job. And customers can tell if employees are happy. In many, many different situations. You may not think that's possible, but over the phone you can tell in store, but you can also just tell if a website's been designed with the customers in mind as well. So that employee experience is just so important.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much, Shane, for sharing all these beautiful insights with us. Thank you so much for giving us your time. Your insights were really valuable, and I know our audience is going to enjoy this interview as much as I did.
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me.
We will be back again with a new episode and a brand new expert soon. So stay tuned, and we'll see you around for the next one.